it's Karen the Weekend Craftaholic, and I am back with another Christmas holiday make. If you saw my video last week, you'll see that I did the actual table runner for this. This was a kit that I got from Spotlight here, and I went back to get these placemats that matched it. Well, I say that matched it, you'll see at the end. It's a little disappointing that the binding and the edging doesn't match. But both of these kits are just a panel kit and super easy for beginners like myself, and it saves you having to buy lots of fabric, having to quilt it all, and I just love the design of these Christmas trees on this pattern. Now you'll see me hesitate a little bit here opening this kit, because as much as I love this design, and you can see here that like the plaid or the tartan pattern in the middle, that's the edging of the table runner. But what I realised looking in this box, two things. First of all, there was no instructions in the box, so I was slightly confused, thinking, okay, maybe it's on the outside of the box. And then as I'm reading the outside of the box, I realised, okay, if you do want to do four table placemats, you then have to buy some backing separately. So you either, although there's 4 designs, you would do them back to back, or buy the backing. So I did have to go out and buy this red backing. You can see here I've cut out the top panel. I've also cut out some of my batting, and then this red backing for it as well. Now I couldn't get an exact match. I did take one of the placemats in to Spotlight to try and get a nice match. I just went with this nice linen fabric actually rather than quilting cotton, because I thought, you know, you never know, I'll be able to turn them over and use them throughout the year. Yeah, maybe Valentine's, while it's got that nice red theme. I do not normally do red. Red is not my colour, so definitely didn't have anything in my stash with this. Now, because there was no instructions, I did have to wing it. I really wasn't sure how to approach this. So I've done it the way I would normally do when, for example, I'm doing like a pencil case or whatever. So I started with the quilting batting, then I put the back side on top and then the front side, so right sides together basically. So the idea is, now you can see I'm just pinning this, and then I'm leaving a bit of a gap to turn it inside out. So then what will happen is, where the two right sides are now facing each other, they're going to be opposite when I flip it inside out. Hope that makes sense. Now, because it was just a panel, I've not shown you the stitching part of this, but I used that black edge around as kind of my guide when I was sewing with my sewing foot, to try and get my stitches as close as I could to that. Again, I'm not sure whether this was the right approach or not, because there was no instructions in this kit, so it was pretty disappointing overall, but I am glad I've got the full set now anyway, and it was on special. It was $15 for this kit, but nevertheless $15 is a bit much to pay just for one panel. I'm sure I could have got it a lot cheaper at Cozy Quilts in Australia, or Fat Quarter Shop, or Missouri Star in America. So as you can see, I'm just trimming around the sides here, so that when I turn it over, it's not as much bulk on the edges for when I top stitch, and I'm just trimming these corners as well, just to make it a little bit easier and get my points nice and straight for when I do turn it over. So this is a nice quick video, but I did want to show you this kit in case you are in Australia or you've seen similar things and wanted to do it yourself. It is very beginner friendly. I find it quite easy to do. I would say maybe over an hour it took me to do all 4 of these. And I did do like batch work, if you like. I did all of the pinning at the same time, ×4, then I did all of the sewing ×4, then I did this cutting ×4, and then I went ahead and did all the top stitching as well, ×4, and obviously the pressing. So I do like that part of sewing where you've got that repetitive nature, and I think it's great for beginners like myself. That practice makes perfect, doesn't it? Repeating these steps over and over. So yeah, the last placemat definitely looks better than the first one, put it that way. So you see I'm just using this little point turner just to try and get these little corners as neat as they can be. And then when I top stitch, again, I'm just using the edge of my sewing foot just as a guide to make sure I've got it as close as I can to the edge. I am also trying to make sure I've got the same width of this red fabric showing around the edges. I would have loved it to have had that tartan edge around, but because I wanted 4 placemats, there wasn't enough of that to do. If I'd have just gone for 2 placemats, then yes, there would have been enough of that tartan fabric that was on the panel to use, but unfortunately not. And I didn't want 2 of them with 1 and 2 without, so I wanted to keep them consistent. So I'm just kind of using my fingers now to manipulate this and try and get it as equal edge all the way around. The bit that was left open, I'm just trying to put this in place, and then I give all of this a good press before I go through and stitch it all. And then we're almost at the end, so you can see here now a little bit of a quick view. You can see where I did my top stitching, hopefully. I decided not to, if you like, quilt effect across the trees. I didn't do this with the table runner reeler either. I just did straight stitches on that. But I wanted to it's just a small amount. I didn't think I needed quilting stitches over, but of course you could do that extra step if you wanted to. I didn't like the effect of it on the table runner, so I've just certainly left it for the placemats. And this is how they look, so you can see I am tempted to go back and actually do, I've got some of this fabric left over, so actually maybe go back and do the table runner so they do match. But I'm pleased with the overall result, and I hope you enjoyed watching that. I hope you have a great crafting weekend.